one of those types. Like, I'm like, wow, this is horrifying. I have to sleep in a room like this. And I'm like, oh, he's so kind. He came to get me. I was so cold. And we go upstairs. He's like, here, get on the elevator. I'm like, okay, cool. I get on the elevator. He presses the button. I go up to the second floor. The second floor is painted all blue. Now, if you ever have the displeasure of going to the Justice Center, I don't need to explain this to you. However, if you haven't had the displeasure of going to the Justice Center, here's my small dissertation on the different floors makeups. So the second floor is painted blue. The third floor is painted orange. The fourth floor is painted green right now, right? That's what I've seen from leaving. I don't know if they've changed it in the time that I've left. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I'll never be back, so I will not know. I've never been to the fifth floor, never want to go to the fifth floor, not interested in going to the fifth floor. So going to the second floor, he puts me in cell number 10, and he says, okay, well, here's a blanket, and I see a cot in cell number 10. Now, at the time, I didn't know that this was the psych floor, but it was. So I'm in cell number 10. I'm like, okay, and he just slams the door behind me. I'm looking down at the bed. I'm like, wow, this is terrifying, man. And then I see up above my window. I have a window. I see up above my window written is the free world, and it's pointing to outside the window. I was like, man, it is out there, isn't it? There is a free world out there. And I start crying because I sit there and I ask myself, will I ever be a part of that free world again? Will I ever get to know or taste freedom? Will I ever be able to really grasp the people I love? Will I ever be able to hug the people I want to be around ever again? Will I ever be able to tell them I love you face to face and not over a phone? It was rough. I go to sleep. They wake all of us up, right? It's me and a whole bunch of other dudes. And it's my first day around all these guys. And I'm like, oh, that guy looks big. Oh, that guy looks menacing. He has tattoos on his face. Ooh. Some guys are dressed in stripes. Other guys are dressed in plain clothes. I'm like, okay. So the guys who are dressed in plain clothes later on, they're misdemeanors. Everybody who's dressed in stripes, those guys are felonies. They're going to be here for a little while. So I learned this after going to breakfast. Breakfast was a depressing affair, to be honest. For breakfast, we had Cheerios, a little bit of the milk, and if you've been there, you know the milk is kind of sweet. Some potatoes, shit on a shingle, which you know, if you don't go to jail. But we had some shingle, and we had, I believe that's it. But I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm looking at the plate, and at first I'm going down to try to eat it, and I'm like, I can't eat. I'm too stressed. Something about me that you should know is that when I get really, really stressed, I cannot eat. I just won't eat. I refuse. Like, it's one of those things that I'm just like, oh, nah, I'm cool. My hunger just vanishes. So I'm sitting there with this spoon in my hand trying to eat. I'm like, oh, man, I can't do it. I put it down. I go walk over by the window. There's a window that shows the outside right by the Justice Center. It shows the street. It shows that main street. And it shows the bridge. No, it doesn't. It shows a side street, I think it is. I'll know what it is later on. I'll remember it later. But it shows a street. I'm just sitting there looking at this street like, man, I love looking outside. It just looks so beautiful. Everything is so amazing out there. Just being able to watch the cars drive on the road makes me happy. Knowing that there's a world out there, but knowing that I'm not a part of it anymore makes me so sad. It's crazy. So I come back to my cereal, and there's a guy sitting at my plate. And he look up at me like, do I know you? I'm like, no. He's like, all right. He takes my cereal. And I'm like, wow. Well, I wasn't really going to eat it anyway, so I guess it is what it is. Then I just go back to sitting down by the window. From there on, they take us up to video arraignment. And I'm like, okay, I'm here at video arraignment. Everybody else, they have the next person waiting outside their arraignment. With me, it wasn't like that. They take me out while another guy's going. He goes back in his cell. They close the door on him. I'm like, but there's other people that still have to go to their arraignment, so I'm confused. They call me in, and I'm sitting there, and I don't say a word. They do arraignment. What is your name? Is your name? Da 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 da. I don't say anything. The guy who's standing there, which might have been my lawyer at the time, I don't know, my public defender, because there is a difference, but there's not, but there is. He's sitting there like, he's nodding. Yes, he's nodding. And I'm like, I didn't move my head, but I just didn't say, no, I'm not. I just didn't say a word. I'm sitting there like, I'm speechless. I have nothing to say. There's nothing for me to actually be able to, throw at you. So because I'm speechless, because there's nothing for me to have on my tongue right now, I'm like, let me just remain silent. I have that right. I'm going to use that right now. And that's going to be important later on. So I remain silent. Down the road, right? Video arraignment's finished. And they call me into my cell. They give me a lunch bag. And lunch consists of two bologna sandwiches, 2 cookies, and a juice, like a Kool-Aid pack. One of those Springhouse Kool-Aid packs, not Skittles Kool-Aid pack, not the Kool-Aid man, no, not Hawaiian Punch. This is Springhouse, whatever Springhouse is. So I'm sitting there looking at this like, ugh. Matter of fact, no, they don't even give me that. They give me the Dairyman's, man, they give me the Dairyman's. This is, okay, I remember now. The Dairyman's Fruit Punch. Oh my goodness. This is probably the most nasty fruit punch I've ever tasted in my life. It tasted like straight pencils. If you were to melt down the graphene in your mechanical pencil and drink it, that's what it would taste like. That's exactly what it tastes like. Go take a mechanical pencil and lick it. That's what Dairyman's Fruit Punch tastes like. Shout out to Dairyman's. It is the worst fruit punch, and I promise you it's probably the worst milk that you could ever drink in your life, too. But enough of that. I'm sitting there like, okay, cool. They give me all this, and I don't drink it, of course. I actually give it out to the dudes that I'm going to be staying with, apparently. I walk up to somebody who's just sitting out watching TV. At the time, I didn't know what he was called. He was called a porter. Porters go and they handle different things around the jail that other people aren't going to handle. Who are those other people, you might ask? COs. They're painting. They're cleaning out cells. They're washing things. They're handing out trays. They're getting certain other things that I'll be talking about later on. But they're doing a whole lot that COs don't do, right? Because the COs are just the guards. The only thing that porters don't do is deal with drugs or deal with security. Who deals with drugs? Medical. Medical deals with drugs. COs deal with security. That's it. The porters deal with everything else. When the porters come in, clean up, give you cleaning supplies, do whatever they do, they bounce, right? They go back to whatever cell they have to go back to because they're serving their time right now. On the flip side of that, right, you have your regular inmates like me. And I'm sitting next to him thinking he was a regular inmate. He's wearing a red jumpsuit. Like, why am I in stripes and he's wearing a red jumpsuit? But I like his thermals he has on right now. Those would be pretty warm. But that's a completely side discussion. I'm trying to hand him my sandwich. He's like, nah, buddy, I don't want that. I'm like, all right, cool. So there's a dude in a cell. He's like, man, can I get your sandwich? Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, all right, cool. So I give him one. And then there's another guy. He's like, man, can I get the other one? All right, yeah. So I give them both one sandwich each. Because I'm like, I'm not going to eat this. So that's 2 meals down. The first guy that I give it to, his teeth look like what would happen if your diet consisted of nothing but chewing on bricks. If you brushed your teeth with glass every morning and ate nothing but bricks, you would have teeth like dude. He has a mouth that I'm pretty sure his mother couldn't love because even she didn't want to talk to him over the phone because he asked me to call his mom for him. And I'm sitting there like, dude, you need a dentist. You do not need your mama right now. Oh my goodness, his teeth were disgusting. It was probably the worst I've ever seen anybody's teeth in my life. It didn't fall out. That's what was like nerving me about the entire thing. My teeth, okay, I definitely have some issues with my teeth, right? Getting hit by a car did not make them better. But dude's teeth, though, drugs can't do that to you. Traumatic instances like car accidents cannot do that to you. It was a lifetime of getting kicked in the mouth. Somebody really took a baseball bat to his teeth, and no Tom and Jerry smacked him in the face and just left him like that. There's a bottom tier in jail and a top tier in jail in the Hamilton County Justice Center. He got thrown off the top tier multiple times with teeth like that. Now, he asked me to call his mom. I looked at him and said, just the look I gave him was like, oh, no, my bad, man. Right? He backtracked the statement. Now, I was on the psych floor. I don't know if I've already said that because I probably have and forgot, but I was on the psych floor. Being on psych's windows aren't regular windows and psych's doors aren't regular doors. The entire floor, from what I've seen, is made up of the whole. All the doors are steel, like thicker than your average dinner table type steel. And they have little latches on the doors that you open up to feed the inmates through. Crazy stuff. So I'm sitting in there like, okay, cool. This is just what regular jail looks like. This is what I was thinking at first. This is what regular jail looks like. It just looks like this. I go into my cell because they open up my cell and say, hey, go into cell 38. I go into cell 38. I have my blanket and I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just lay down, try to get some sleep. It's dark. It smells musty. Once again, I'm on psych. So the smell, to say it was musty is an understatement. Just for you to get the entire picture of it, just take a doodle in a bag and leave it in your room for a whole week. Then you'll understand what I was going through. But I'm like, all right, cool. I get off that. I try to get some Z's. And I'm like, oh, man. Sounds like, because here's how the doors on psych open up. Right? They pop open. And then you can go and look out the door and see what's going on. You can just lay down. But doors in the hole do not lock. Doors in the hole stay unlocked until you open it up. And then afterwards, they can lock again if you close it all the way. But if you don't close it all the way, it's not going to lock. Do with that information what you will. It's probably useless. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, this door is locked. It's a big, heavy metal door. I can protect myself behind this door because I'm in survival mode at this point, but at the same time, I'm not. But as I'm getting woken up by this door opening, CEO comes and grabs me. He's like, hey, man, we need you to see the therapist. So I go out to see the therapist. And I'm just looking at her. And now, mind you, I'm still heavily emotional. And this is my first day in here. So I'm still heavily emotional. I'll go out to see her. And she's like, well, so